Okay, so picture this. I'm standing at the gate, the door is literally closing, and the gate agent is looking at me like I just asked her to hold the plane for my personal convenience.
Which, let's be honest, is exactly what you were asking her to do.
Fair, but that's not even the worst part of the story.
Oh, there's a worse part?
Oh, there's a much worse part. We'll get there.
Okay, I need this whole story from the very beginning because right now all I know is that you almost didn't make it on Paul Plane this morning.
It was extremely up in the air for a while, yeah.
Up in the air. I see what you did there.
I couldn't resist. Okay, fine. Let's go back to the beginning. It actually starts with the boarding pass, believe it or not, because that little piece of paper, or these days the little picture on your phone, is basically the main character of this whole disaster.
The boarding pass, meaning the thing that proves you have a seat on the flight and lets you get through the gate.
Exactly that. No boarding pass, no plane. And this morning, mine almost didn't exist in time. So my alarm goes off at 6. I remember hearing it. And then the next thing I remember is opening my eyes and the room being way too bright.
Oh, no.
I grab my phone and it's 6:50. My flight boards at 7:15.
David.
I know. And the airport is a solid 25 minutes away on a good day.
So you weren't just late. You were catastrophically late.
Catastrophically is a strong word, but yeah, honestly, that tracks.
Okay, so what did you do?
I did the only thing a reasonable person does at 6:50 in the morning. I panicked, threw on whatever clothes were closest to the bed, and started banging on my roommate's door.
Poor guy.
He opens the door half asleep, sees my face, and just goes, "Get in the car."
He didn't even ask questions?
No time for questions. We're in the car in under 90 seconds, and I'm sitting there trying to check in for my phone on my phone while he's driving like we're being chased.
See, that's the part that gets me. You still hadn't checked in?
I hadn't checked in. Normally, I do it the night before, right on the app, get my seat assigned, all of that. But last night, I fell asleep on the couch at like 9 and just never moved.
9 p.m.?
9 p.m. I'm not proud of it.
Okay, but let's go back even further because there's a step before check-in that people always forget about, actually booking the ticket itself.
Oh, that part I did do properly. I booked this one almost a month ago. I went online, compared a couple of airlines, picked the cheapest one with a decent departure time, and paid for it right then and there.
And when you book, that's usually also when they let you pick your seat, right? Window, middle, aisle?
In theory, yes. You can pick a window seat if you like looking out at clouds for 2 hours, an aisle seat if you hate asking people to move when you need the bathroom, or a middle seat is, I don't know, you enjoy suffering.
Nobody chooses the middle seat on purpose.
Nobody. Anyway, I was cheap that day and didn't want to pay the extra fee just to choose one, so I figured I'd sort it out later at check-in.
Famous last words.
Extremely famous last words, as it turns out. A month of preparation completely wasted by one bad night of sleep and one lazy decision about a seat.
Okay, so you're in the car, you're frantically trying to check in on your phone with, like, shaking hands, I'm assuming.
Extremely shaking hands.
And your roommate's driving like a stunt double. Then what?
Then we pull up to departures, and he basically just slows down enough for me to jump out without breaking my ankle.
Very heroic of him.
Truly a hero. So I run in through the sliding doors, and my suitcase, this huge, ridiculous suitcase, way too big to bring on the plane with me, is bouncing around behind me like it's trying to escape.
Because you have to check that in, obviously. Anything that size isn't fitting in an overhead bin, so it becomes what they call checked baggage, the bags that go under the plane instead of traveling with you in the cabin.
Right, no chance. So I burst through the doors into the building.
Wait, the terminal? Isn't that just another word for the airport?
Not exactly, actually. The airport is the whole place, runways and all. A terminal is just the building part where the check-in counters, the shops, and the gates all live.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Right, so I'm sprinting toward the check-in counter, and there's this line, and I'm standing there just praying it moves fast.
Was it slow?
It was so slow. There was a family in front of me with, I swear, 6 suitcases, and every single one of them had to be weighed and discussed individually.
Oh, the weight thing? Yeah, that can turn into a whole event if your bag's even close to the limit. Most airlines cap checked bags around 23 kilos, and if you're over, you either pay a fee or start pulling things out right there on the floor.
Which, of course, mine was, right at the edge. I get to the front, throw my suitcase on the scale, and the number comes up right at the limit.
Please tell me you didn't have to unpack anything.
No, thank God. It slipped under by like half a pound. But then the woman working the counter got straight down to business. Check-in counter.
Good morning. Can I see your ID, please?
Here you go.
And you're checking this one bag today?
Just the one, yes.
Any lithium batteries, e-cigarettes, or medicine packed inside?
No, nothing like that.
The most normal question in the world directed at the most chaotic-looking human being.
Exactly the vibe. She checked my ID against the name on the ticket, tagged my suitcase, sent it off down the belt behind her, and handed me my boarding pass. And I look at the clock.
And?
22 minutes.
22 minutes to get through security and to your gate?
22 minutes.
Okay, that's genuinely stressful just to hear about.
It was stressful to live, trust me. So I run towards security, and thankfully the line wasn't insane. I get to the front and start emptying my pockets, and the officer's already got his rhythm going.
Security officer.
Laptop out, please. Its own tray.
Sorry, here. Any liquids on you?
Just this water bottle.
Over 100 milliliters, so it can't go through like that. Finish it or bin it.
So obviously, I just drank the entire thing in about 4 seconds instead of pouring it down the drain because I was not about to waste perfectly good water.
Absolute chaos, drowning yourself to save time.
Meanwhile, there's a whole tray situation happening. One tray for shoes, one for the laptop, one for your jacket and your phone and your belt if you're wearing one. And you just watch it all disappear into the x-ray machine and hope it comes out the other side in the same order.
I always end up holding up the line because I forget my laptop needs its own tray. The security officer just stares at me until I remember.
Same energy as this morning, except I didn't have time to hold anything up. So I go through the metal detector, they check my boarding pass and ID one more time, they scan the bag on the belt, and I swear the whole thing moves so fast that you barely have time to process what's happening.
It always feels a little bit like being on a conveyor belt yourself.
That's exactly it. And I come out the other side, grab my shoes and jacket off the tray, and I'm standing there half dressed, trying to put a shoe on while walking.
David.
I know how that sounds.
Please tell me you at least got both shoes on before you kept running.
Defined before.
Oh my God.
One shoe, Sarah. I ran probably 30 feet with one shoe in my hand.
This is going to come back later, isn't it?
Oh, it's definitely coming back later.
Okay, so now you're through security, one shoe technically still not on, and you've got, what, 15 minutes left?
About 15 minutes, yeah. And here's the thing. This airport is not small. I look up at the departure board, that big screen with every flight listed by number, destination, and gate, find my flight, and my gate is basically on the opposite end of the terminal.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. So there's a moving walkway, right? One of those long conveyor belt hallway things.
I love those. Lazy, but incredibly effective.
Normally, yes, lazy but effective. But this morning, I did not have the luxury of standing still and letting the ground carry me like royalty. I was running on top of the moving walkway.
Running on a moving walkway? That must have felt like some kind of video game power-up.
It genuinely did. I felt like I was moving at double speed. People were just casually standing there, coffee in hand, and I'm blowing past them like a maniac with one shoe half on. At one point, I actually stopped a guy in an airport uniform and just gasped, "Gate 14," and pointed. And he just pointed further down the terminal without even blinking, like he'd seen 100 people exactly like me that morning.
I would pay actual money to have seen that.
You and everyone else in that terminal, apparently, because people were staring.
Okay, this actually reminds me of something. Speaking of people not being fully prepared at the airport, I have to tell you about my friend and the passport thing.
Oh, this is a good one. Go.
So she's flying internationally, right? Which means you need an actual passport, not just a regular ID like David needed today for his domestic flight.
Right. Domestic just means within your own country, so an ID or driver's license is enough. International means crossing a border, and that's a whole different set of rules, including passport control when you land.
Exactly. But she's going to Portugal, gets to the check-in counter, reaches into her bag for her passport, and it's not there.
Oh no.
Left it sitting right on her kitchen table, 90 minutes before boarding.
That's a whole different level of disaster than my one shoe situation.
Completely different level. So she calls her neighbor, who thankfully has a spare key, begs him to grab the passport and get it to the airport somehow.
How does that even work logistically?
He got in his car, floored it to the airport, and basically threw the passport at her through the departures door with about 8 minutes to spare.
8 minutes! In the nick of time doesn't even begin to cover that.
It really doesn't. She said she was shaking so hard she could barely hold her boarding pass. And then, of course, once she landed in Portugal, she still had to go through immigration. That's the passport check when you actually enter the country before she could even get to baggage claim.
So the passport basically follows you around the whole trip. Check-in, boarding, and then again the second you land somewhere new.
Exactly. It's not just a get on the plane document, it's a prove who you are at every step document.
I mean, at least she wasn't running around missing a shoe.
Small mercies.
Okay, actually, before we go any further into my chaotic morning, I want to pause for 1 second because I know we've got some new faces listening in today.
Oh, good call. So, hey, if this is your first time with us, welcome. Seriously, we're glad you're here.
This is EnglishFB, and basically what happens here is exactly what you've been listening to for the last few minutes. Two people just talking, telling stories, messing with each other, and somewhere in the middle of all that, English kind of sneaks in.
That's really the whole idea. We're not stopping to quiz you. We're not putting definitions on a slide. You just follow the conversation the way you'd follow a friend telling you a story, and the language sticks the same way it stuck the first time, back when you were a kid picking up your first language, just by being around it.
So if you're new, stick around. And if you've been here before, you already know the drill. Welcome back.
All right, now back to David, sprinting through an airport with one shoe on.
I was really hoping we'd move past that.
Never.
Okay, so where was I? Right, I'm on the moving walkway, running, and I finally get to the end of it. And I look up at the big screen again to double-check my gate number.
And?
And next to my flight number, instead of a gate and a time, the screen just says, Final Call.
Oh no, David.
Final Call, Sarah. Those are, quite possibly, the two scariest words you can see on a departure board.
Okay, at this point, I'm genuinely stressed just listening to you.
Welcome to my morning. So I take off in a full sprint, dodging suitcases, dodging kids, dodging a guy pulling one of those little snack carts.
There's always a guy with a cart.
Always. And I finally see my gate number up ahead, right there on the little sign above the desk. And there's this small crowd of people still standing there.
Which means
the flight wasn't fully closed yet.
Which brings us right back to where we started this whole episode.
Right back to the beginning. Except now you know most of the story.
Not the whole story. You said there was a worse part.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay, hold that thought because this whole story is reminding me of something my cousin does every single time she flies. And honestly, it's the complete opposite of your morning.
Please, I need to hear about someone who has their life together.
So my cousin, whenever she's flying anywhere, shows up at the airport like 3 hours early. Every time. Doesn't matter if it's a short domestic flight or a huge international one with a connecting flight in the middle.
Wait, connecting flight? Meaning she has to land somewhere else first and get on a second plane?
Exactly. And usually that means a layover, a stretch of waiting time between the first flight landing and the second one taking off. Sometimes an hour, sometimes half a day.
Right, I remember those. Fine when it's long enough to get food, a nightmare when it's 45 minutes and your first flight lands late.
Which is exactly why my cousin gives herself so much extra time. 3 hours every time. We used to tease her constantly, like, why are we sitting at a gate eating overpriced sandwiches 2.5 hours before boarding even starts?
Honestly, at this point in my morning, I would kill for 2.5 hours of sitting around eating a sandwich.
Right. Well, here's the thing. A few years ago, my other cousin, her brother actually, was the total opposite. Always cutting it close, always the last one through security, always convinced he had plenty of time.
Oh, I sense where this is going.
One day, traffic was worse than usual, security had this insanely long line, and by the time he actually got to the gate, the door was already closed. Completely missed the flight.
Oh no.
Had to buy a brand new ticket on the spot, full price, for the next available flight the following morning.
That's brutal.
It really is. And you know what my cousin, the early one, said to him at dinner that night?
What?
The early bird catches the worm.
Oh, that's savage.
So savage. But honestly, ever since then, he's early too. Learned his lesson the expensive way.
Meanwhile, I'm out here today basically becoming a cautionary tale of my own.
The early bird catches the worm. David sprints for it in one shoe.
I really can't escape the shoe thing today, can I?
Okay, so back to the gate. Worst part alert, go.
Right, so I get there, completely out of breath, and hand it over. Gate agent.
Boarding pass, please.
Here you are. The scanner beeps oddly.
1 second, let me check something for you.
That's normal, right?
That's normal if it's a good beep. This was very clearly not a good beep, judging by your face right now.
Apparently, because I checked in so late, the system had already bumped my seat to standby, thinking I wasn't going to show up. Standby basically means you're not guaranteed a seat anymore. You're just hoping one opens up.
David!
So I'm standing there, out of breath, one shoe barely tied, and she tells me she has to check if there's still a seat available.
Oh, that's a whole new level of stress.
A whole new level. So I'm standing at the little podium thing, watching her type, completely frozen. And for about 90 seconds, my entire trip is just hanging there.
Up in the air, if you will.
Extremely up in the air. Yes, very fitting.
Okay, so what happened?
So finally, she looks up and hands me a new boarding pass. You got the last seat, middle, back row. You're all set. Go ahead and board it.
Middle seat, back row after everything you went through this morning?
After everything. But honestly, at that point, I would have taken a seat strapped to the wing.
Understandable.
There wasn't even time to think about boarding groups. You know that whole system where they call people row by row or priority passengers first and everyone else in zones? She just waved me straight through, since I was basically the last person on the list.
Skip the whole line. Silver lining.
Honestly, the only part of the morning that worked in my favor. So I walked down the jet bridge, that tunnel that connects the gate to the actual airplane door, completely drenched in sweat. Board the plane, and the flight attendant at the door is standing there greeting everyone and checking whether people's carry-ons actually fit in the overhead bins.
Which honestly is always a bit of a gamble with certain bags.
Mine somehow fit, thank God, and I collapsed into my middle seat, back row, next to two very confused-looking strangers who just watched a sweaty man practically fall into the row.
A lovely first impression.
A truly lovely first impression, and that's when it hits me. I never actually ate breakfast, and there's this smell coming from somewhere near the front of the plane.
Oh no, was it food?
It was the flight attendants doing the drink and snack card, and I could smell those little packets of pretzels from 3 rows away.
That's cruel.
Extremely cruel. By the time the cart reached me, I think I ate that tiny pretzel bag faster than I've ever eaten anything in my life.
Okay, actually, speaking of airport food, I have to tell you about the time I paid an absolutely ridiculous amount of money for ice cream.
Oh no, how much are we talking?
So it's 1 scoop, cookies and cream at this little shop right by my gate. Normally, back in my city, that same scoop would cost maybe $4 or $5.
Reasonable.
Right? At the airport, it was $6.10.
$6.10 for 1 scoop?
1 scoop. And I remember standing there just staring at the little receipt like it had personally offended me.
And did you buy it anyway?
Of course I bought it anyway. What was I going to do? Walk away out of principle while my flight boards in 20 minutes?
The classic airport trap. They know you're not going anywhere, so the prices just do whatever they want.
Exactly. It's basically a small, overpriced mall that also happens to have planes attached to it.
A very accurate description, honestly.
Okay, so you're on the plane now, middle seat, back row, freshly fed a single tiny bag of pretzels. What happens next?
So we take off, and everything's fine for the first 20 minutes or so. The flight attendant comes back around with the cart. Something to drink? Could I get some water, please? And is there any chance of a blanket? It's freezing back here.
Of course. 1 second. Very reasonable requests.
She's lovely about it, brings both, and even offers me a pair of those little headphones for the screen in front of me. I also quietly ask if there's any chance of switching to an aisle seat, since I'm wedged in the middle. And she says she'll see if anyone wants to swap once we're fully in the air.
The classic, I'll see what I can do.
Exactly. Anyway, nobody ends up switching with me, so I'm stuck in the middle, sipping my water, wrapped in this tiny blanket like a burrito. And then, out of nowhere, the plane just drops.
Oh no, turbulence?
Massive turbulence, like drinks flying off the cart turbulence. Right before it hit, actually, the captain had come on the speaker and said something like, "Cabin crew, please take your seats," which apparently is the code for things are about to get bumpy.
That's terrifying.
It was genuinely terrifying, and this is the part where I actually paid attention to the safety demonstration for probably the first time in my life.
The one where they show you the seatbelt and the oxygen masks and all of that.
That exact one. Normally, everyone just tunes it out completely, scrolling on their phone, half asleep, but the second that plane dropped, I swear the entire cabin went dead silent, and everyone suddenly remembered every single word of that demonstration.
Funny how that works.
isn't it? The flight attendants were incredible, though, completely calm, walking through the aisle like nothing was happening, telling everyone to stay seated with seatbelts fastened.
That calmness is honestly impressive. I don't know how they do it.
At one point, over the speaker, the same calm voice just says, "We're experiencing some turbulence. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is turned off." Like it's the most boring announcement in the world, while half the cabin is gripping their armrests for dear life.
That contrast is honestly kind of funny in hindsight. Total panic in the seats, total boredom in the voice on the speaker.
Years of practice, I guess. After about 10 minutes, it's smoothed out completely, and this older guy sitting across the aisle just turns to his wife and goes, "Well, that woke me up."
A very calm reaction to almost dying.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there white-knuckling both armrests like my life depended on it, which, I mean, it kind of did.
Okay, so you land, presumably relieved beyond belief.
So relieved. Like genuinely, stepping off that plane felt like a small miracle after the morning I'd have. We taxied to the gate. Everyone stands up way too early like always, and I finally make my way off through the jet bridge and follow the signs toward baggage claim.
And baggage claim comes with its own special kind of stress, honestly. You're standing there at the carousel watching bag after bag come around that isn't yours.
Oh, I hate that feeling. Everyone else's luggage shows up, and you start convincing yourself yours got sent to a different country entirely, and you start rehearsing what you'd even say at the lost luggage counter.
Exactly that spiral. And after everything that had already gone wrong that morning, my brain was fully prepared for my suitcase to just never show up. I was already picturing you at that little lost luggage counter, filling out a form with a photo of your suitcase, some tired airline employee typing away, telling you they'd do their best to track it down.
Don't. I was picturing the exact same thing, standing there rehearsing my sad little description. It's black, medium-sized, has a broken zipper on the side. So what happened?
You tell me. It's your story.
Right, sorry, force a habit. It popped out like the 20th bag, completely fine, like nothing had happened all morning.
Of course. The universe really put you through it today.
Truly. So I grab it, and since this was just a domestic flight, no customs, no immigration desk, nothing like your friend had to deal with in Portugal, I just head straight out toward the area where people wait to pick someone up.
Arrivals.
Right, arrivals. Nobody was there waiting for me, obviously, so I just called a car and stood outside for a minute, just breathing.
Okay, so full circle moment. Standing there, finally caught your breath. One full, completed journey behind you.
One full, chaotic, completely exhausting journey.
And be honest, both shoes on the whole flight?
Yes, actually, both shoes on for the entire flight. I fixed that situation the second I got through security.
Small victories.
Small victories. Honestly, though, standing outside in the sun, bag next to me, car on the way, it was one of those moments where the whole ridiculous morning suddenly felt kind of funny instead of stressful.
That's usually how it goes, right? In the moment, it's a disaster, and 20 minutes later, it's just a story.
Exactly. Although I don't think I'll be telling this particular story to my roommate anytime soon. He already thinks I'm hopeless before 6 in the morning.
Well, we're certainly not going to let him off the hook either, driving like that.
Honestly, without him, I'd still be standing in my kitchen with one shoe on.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today.
Seriously, thank you. And next time I promise to actually set 2 alarms.
No promises there either.
Fair. See you all in the next one.
See you next time, everybody.